Hello, everyone, and welcome to Out of This World with me, Jamie Hanshaw, and the beautiful Kristin Lagan. And tonight we are going to have some fun. We're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to chill. We're going to slow down. We're going to be lighthearted. And we are going to play some games. We're going to ask some questions and get to know each other. And we are going to laugh a lot. So what Kristin did, she suggested we each ask each other 10 questions. And I said, okay, that sounds really fun. And then I just kind of went crazy with questions and I made up a bunch of games for us to play.
Ooh, okay.
Because I think your questions are going to be a little more sophisticated than mine. So I went with quantity over quality. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, I just thought it would be a good idea because people know who you are. No one knows me really. I mean, there might be three of you out there that might know me, but I think it would be a good idea for us to be like, hey, we know all this stuff, but also like, here's who we are too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Peer into each other's worlds a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just start right off with a game that I created called Favorite, Least Favorite. Just a little rapid fire thing to get to know you real fast and not a lot of thought put into it, but it's going to be fun. Okay, you ready?
So I love games. I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm going to say a thing and then you tell me your favorite one of those and then your least favorite one of those.
Okay.
Okay.
I did not make up any games, so mine is not that cool.
You have your good questions because I know you have like a lot of thought into these like heartfelt, like probing questions that will elicit very long responses. And I didn't know any of those. So I just like went crazy with the games.
Okay.
So if you, I have a bunch of these. So if you just want to ask them back to me, if you feel like it, don't feel like you have to. This is just like your round. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Oh, this is so hard.
Or you could just say pass if you don't have one.
I mean, favorite movie. That takes so much thought.
Okay.
I don't like to watch movies over and over again, but there is one rom-com that I'll watch over and over again. This is like totally my girly side coming out. But I think it's called Late September.
Okay.
Or late October. It has Keanu Reeves in it.
Oh, does it have Charlize Theron and
yes.
Keanu Reeves? That is so funny. I know what you're talking about. It's Sleeping October, but it's like she's dying.
Yes.
And she's like the manic pixie dream girl.
Yes.
And Keanu Reeves has no direction. He's like depressed loafer. And
he becomes a depressed loafer, but at the beginning of the movie, he's like this mega marketing guy and he's trying to sell the hot diggy dog. And he goes, I've seen it a million times. So
that is so funny.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in the theater when it came out because I loved rom-coms in the 2000s and I was like bawling when she died.
Oh yeah.
I was even in the car after the movie theater was over. And I'm still like blowing my nose and dabbing my eyes. So yeah, that was a sad one. Okay, good choice.
That is not a deep movie for me to say would be my favorite, but like that's one that I own and I like it. So There you go.
Okay, least favorite movie. Do you have like one that you really hate that people really love? No.
I mean, I'm sure I do. I'm going to pass, but I'm going to keep thinking about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Keep going. Favorite TV show?
Of all time, I would say I Love Lucy.
Oh, cute. Okay. I just watched that documentary.
The movie. I was obsessed growing up as like a little girl. I watched them every Saturday night. Cute. It was like on Nick at Night. I think I watched like 30 minutes of I Love Lucy, or they would do 30 minutes back to back. And then they would do a Lucy Desi comedy hour, which is like it was like another TV show that they had. And so anyway, I loved that show when I was growing up.
Okay, cute. Do you have a least favorite TV show? Something that was always on, you were forced to watch, but you hated it?
I've never been like a soap opera type of gal.
Okay.
Like I just never liked soap operas. And American Idol. Hate American Idol because I get embarrassed for the people.
Uh-huh.
And it makes me physically nauseous and physically cringe when they're up there singing, even if they're good. I'm like, why do you feel the need to be on a reality TV show? Like the whole thing it blows my brain apart.
Okay. So you hate Simon?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really like Simon.
Okay. Do you have a favorite book?
I have a favorite childhood book, which this was one of my questions to you. So maybe we'll just like pivot back to you, but
okay.
There was a book when I was a little girl, called Number the Stars. And it was about like World War II and them hiding a Jew in their basement. And she becomes friends with I don't know. I really love that, book growing up, but like as an adult, I love to read. I would say like I'm a big like Wayne Dyer fan. I like his books, but I also liked Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning is a good book. I mean, if we want to go Orthodox route, I really like The Young Man, The Guru, and Elder Paisios. That was like instrumental in me like, oh, what is Orthodoxy? And then someone introduced that book to me. Gigi is out of control tonight. So you guys are getting a show.
So zooming around.
She has like toys in her mouth. Yeah. Oh, there she goes.
Okay.
What's your favorite book?
Well, since you're talking about childhood books, two of those popped into my head that I would ask to be read every single night before bed. And the first one was one of those golden books with the gold spines.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called The Monster at the End of This Book. And it was about Grover, that little Sesame Street character. And it's kind of a self-aware book because it's talking to you as the reader. And so the first page, Grover goes, "A monster's at the end of this book. Don't turn any more pages because we don't want to get to the monster." And so I'm like, turn the page. And then Grover says, "No, stop turning pages. We don't want to get."
You're like, turn the page.
Yeah. And I'm like, turn the page. And Grover says no. And he's like building brick walls and stuff, trying to get you not to turn any more pages.
Oh, that would be fun as a kid.
Yeah. So you're like laughing the whole time because every time you turn the page, he gets more scared. And then at the end, it's just like, he's the little monster at the end of the book. He's like, oh, that wasn't scary. So that's a cute one.
That is cute.
The second one I thought of that I had to read all the time was called, it was a series of books called Value Tales, like about heroic icons, Abraham Lincoln or whatever. And then the only one I had in the series, though, was about Louis Pasteur, the guy who invented the rabies vaccine.
Oh, okay.
So,
this is really, you as a kid.
Yeah, I was like obsessed with watching this scientist with all his beakers make this vaccine so that he could save a little boy that got bitten by rabies. And when they injected it in, these little soldiers like marched down the needle into the bloodstream. And for some reason, I just really liked those guys because they had shiny eyes. I have those two books on my shelf. Maybe I'll show them to you next time because I saved
that's
them,
cute.
You know. But yeah, those were the two books, Louis Pasteur and Grover.
Do you have a least favorite book?
Not really.
Or a least favorite TV show?
Oh, probably like Farscape. I hate that TV show. It's a sci-fi with puppets, but it's kind of adult.
Ew. So like it's for adults, but it's like.
So like that was on a lot in houses I used to occupy, and I just could never like stomach watching it. But I think my favorite TV show Hmm, probably The Office or
Oh
Quantum
yeah.
Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Yeah, that was like a 90s, this guy jumping into other people's bodies in the past.
Okay.
You never
I,
saw that
I
one?
never watched that one.
Oh, I
No.
had like a crush on that guy when I was a little girl because I think because he was so innocent and all the ladies would come on to him and he would say, no, no, because he knew that he was not in the right body. Like he was in someone else's body,
Oh,
so he would
okay.
never like give in to advances because that would have been deceptive. And I'm like, oh, he's a nice man. So that was like my
Yeah.
first little,
What a charming man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Huh. Okay. I do like The Office a lot.
yeah.
Any type of like dry comedy like that, I think is hilarious.
Okay, keep going. Favorite music.
Definitely not mainstream. Right now, my music trends, they vary. I think it's seasonal. And the other day, I swear I put bluegrass on.
Oh, that's
And
neat.
so I am in a bluegrass kick right now, like Alison Krauss. Um, I also like, Patty. She sings a song called Heavenly Day. Patty, I can't remember her name. I really like, I don't like rap. I wish I did. I'm not that girl. Don't like, I can't like even get into Kanye that much or like mainstream kind of stuff. I'm just like, I could take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You should listen to Coulter Wall if you like bluegrass and
I
folk.
don't love bluegrass.
I mean,
I'm
if
just
you're
like,
getting into like that kind of.
people are like, Kristin loves bluegrass. And I'm like, I listened to it one day and I'm like, oh, this is cute. I like this. There was this guy, I've kind of like come out of it. It's like mellow techno kind of music, but his name was East Forest and he like appealed to a lot of like people that did mushrooms back in the day or still today. But like, I like, it's like musical, but it's also kind of trancy.
Mhm.
But it's really like calm. I like things that are calm on my nervous system
Okay.
because I feel like music can be really aggressive, but I also enjoy going to the gym and like Megan Trainor, like it's bubblegum, like pop music like that while I'm like running.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's fun.
What about you?
Favorite genre would have to be Motown.
Okay, like
50s and like Sam Cooke and that era.
okay.
I
Oh,
really love Motown.
all right. Motown it
My
is.
Yeah, my least favorite would probably have to be like something metally, like grindcore or death
You,
metal.
do you remember Breaking Benjamins? Oh, really? I loved them growing up, but they were kind of like the hardest, like emo, sad music, but like also like screamer kind
Oh,
of
okay.
like that's as hard as I got.
Okay. I
Yeah.
remember like Linkin Park and those Slipknot, the pop hard metal.
Yeah. I loved Ace of Base growing up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were great. Yep.
Okay, favorite place.
Like to visit?
Just of anything. Where do you want to be all the time?
Bed. I mean, like
Good
I
answer.
like my bed.
Oh,
I love being outside. So
okay.
like if I just have to place something, like I like to be on a hike or in the trees, or like if I get like, I mean, I'm being super logical about this. If I could just dream of anything, it would be on the beach every day, just laying in the sun and being a turtle or an iguana. But like logically every day, if I get like a free space, I want to be out in the sun, walking in the trees. And yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Favorite place. Yeah, home, bed, probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love my bed.
Yeah. I love as a place, I love California.
I do too.
All of its natural beauty and
Mm.
topography and the weather and the culture, but it's not doing great at the moment. So I haven't been back there
Yeah,
for a long time.
it really sucks because it's like the most beautiful place, I think,
Yeah.
personally, in my opinion, in all of America. But
Okay. Do you have a favorite tree?
ooh, I like evergreens. I really enjoy a good like pine evergreen.
Okay.
I love trees though.
I do
I
too.
love Japanese maples. I love um I mean I love them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite bird?
I love them all. I
Okay.
don't have a favorite bird.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite bird?
Bird. Yeah, I probably like a hummingbird.
Those are cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see you if you were an animal,
Uh-huh.
I could see you being a hummingbird.
I could see that too. Yeah.
You know how like people resemble animals?
Yeah. Well, you know how people always look like their dogs?
Yeah,
That is so true. Like,
it is true.
yeah.
But I never thought about you as a hummingbird until you just said that. But I could see you as a
I love
hummingbird.
hummingbirds and I love peacocks and I love flamingos. Those are probably like my top three birds.
That makes, yeah. And all three of those are like dainty and colorful.
Mhm. That's me.
That's you.
Okay. Do you have a favorite water creature? Favorite sea creature?
I
What?
do.
What is that?
An orca.
Okay.
I mean, I
Smart.
love orcas. Like, if I could just go on I've never seen one in real life. But I want to go see them. And I want to like, at one point in my life, if I had not had my daughter to keep me grounded, she kept me out of a lot of trouble. I was like, I'm going to go save the orcas. And that was like a real thing in my life for a minute.
That's so funny. One time I literally had like a crying breakdown because I read this article about how they were testing sonar in the Navy and it like their projection was that it was going to kill like X amount of whales and dolphins and like things that use sonar to communicate.
Wow. I
And
well, okay, so I got really like I couldn't stop. Like I got kind of obsessive about it. And so I learned that just like us, they have their pod, like their family that they travel around with. And depending on where their pod originates from, they speak and they all have like different dialects, like a foreign language. You know, they speak in like an accent depending on like where they're
oh,
based out of.
really?
Yeah,
That's
isn't
neat.
that amazing?
That is neat.
They resemble humans so much.
Mm-hmm. So you want to live a life of free willy, basically. Like you want
I
to be
want
an
to like
orca trainer.
I want to fall in love with Free Willy like that lady did with Peter.
No, don't
So
do
that's
that.
what I really want to do. What's your favorite sea creature?
Probably a sea lion.
Okay, so orcas eat sea lions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
I'm dominant. That's what
I
that
just think
means.
I love dogs and they're like a water dog
Yeah, they're so cute.
and they're really smart and personable and fun. And I love dolphins, but I feel like sea lions aren't as snobby, if that makes any sense. That if a sea
Look at
creature could be a
that.
snob, I think a dolphin would be snobby. But
Did you watch that My Octopus Friend?
I did.
That was
Yeah.
fascinating.
It was really neat. And I didn't know like such a small thing can have such a big personality because it wasn't even a
Yeah.
giant octopus. It was just like this big, you know?
It was so cute. And like,
Yeah.
I do remember watching it and I was like, has this man fallen in love with this octopus? Like, I think he has a wife and a child, but like he was spending so much time with this octopus, which I get too, because he created this relation. It was really cool. It was a cool documentary.
Yeah, I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a favorite land animal? Like mammal?
I love animals. I really do. I have a soft spot for animals.
Don't
I
let
like
Gigi
cats.
hear like what?
Gigi's right there.
Okay.
I love cats, obviously. I really like when it, like ferrets, not ferrets, but like the guys that sit up on their hind legs and they're tiny.
Meerkats?
Meerkats. Those are so cute. I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite, but that's what's coming to mind right now.
Yeah. Their little families are really interesting too. Like there's a whole TV show called Meerkat Manor about their personalities and their families and all the little dramas they get into. They're really cute.
It's probably why I like them. They're dramatic.
Okay.
Timon. Do you like, what about you?
My favorite mammal? Probably a dog. Just
a classic.
Basic golden retriever, I think, are like, there's angels and dogs. Like, so close. Yeah. I love dogs.
Yeah, I do too.
Do you have a favorite flower?
I do. I have two.
What?
I love sunflowers and I love roses.
Okay.
But I like probably roses are like my favorite. And I know that's like so cliche, but I love the way they smell. Like I even have this like rose spray that I spray on like my pillows every day so that when I lay down at night, like I smell roses. Oh, I mean, I really like the smell of roses.
Okay.
So yeah. What about you?
Favorite flower, probably, I go for the smell too. So I love gardenias. Mm-hmm. And I love the pink tiger lilies.
Oh yeah.
Smell amazing.
Those are strong.
Yeah. I
like those, but like they overwhelm me sometimes. So I'm like, whew. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite dessert?
Key lime pie. Is that yours?
Like, yeah, I can't think of anything better than that. When me and Jay first met, we went to Florida and we had this game where like everywhere we'd go, we'd try a slice of key lime pie to see if we could find the best key lime pie in Florida. So we ate it all the way from south to north.
I think if you're more of a savory palate, because I'm not a sweet kind of, I don't love sweets. I would prefer like savory. So I think that key lime pie is, I don't know. It's just like another meal. It's so good. Yeah.
It's tart and sweet and limey. Yes. Yeah. Yum, yum. Okay. Do you have a favorite art form?
As far as like dancing or
dancing, painting, theater.
I really love art galleries. So I think I'm more of like a painting appreciator or like a sculpture appreciator. Like I just bought myself a piece of art yesterday for my new place and I'm so excited. Like I really love art.
Okay.
What about you?
Favorite art form? Singing, I guess.
Yeah.
Vocal. That's probably my favorite. It gives me the chills. I love dancing. I love ice skating. I love all of the arts. I'm pretty artistic person and all over the place, except for I can't dance. So I really admire people when they're good dancers because that's something that I never learned how to do. I'm a little awkward in movement. So when you're a smooth dancer, I'm just like, wow, that's impressive. Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, you got it.
Okay. What is your favorite alcoholic drink?
Um, a new discovery for myself. I think maybe I'm just becoming a sophisticated woman. I just discovered I liked martinis like
Okay, I never
last
had
year.
one of those.
It's like gin and vermouth, and I love it. It's so good. But outside of that, I love like a red, dry Pinot Noir, like a red wine.
Okay.
What about you?
I don't drink very much, so it had to be something light, like a mimosa,
Okay.
because it's luxurious, but you get orange juice too, so it's a little bit like a little
That's
healthy
true.
and a little tipsy.
Yeah. Okay.
What is your favorite city?
Of all the places I've been, my favorite city has gotta be, well, there's a tie. There's a few places I really like. I'm not a city girl. I don't like big cities. I'm not like this, like, I mean, I enjoy visiting, but I can just gladly leave a big city. But Tamarindo, Costa Rica, it's like a city,
Mhm.
but it's also like a very like beachy earth vibes. People are like super healthy and loving the sun and like very into nature. Love that like vibe of that. And it's a city. So like you can get all the things you need to get, but it's not like a metropolitan type of like city. But yeah, I mean, cities just don't dazzle me. Like,
Right.
I don't know. But what
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, when I used to travel a lot, I loved cities. I loved the energy. But then you just get so run down and tired. Like every time I would go to New York City, we would have so much fun, but every day you wake up more tired than the day
Mm-hmm.
before. And
Yeah.
so I just feel like it runs you down faster than when you live in the suburbs or in the country.
Yeah.
But probably my favorite city, again, it's not anything like it used to be, but the most beautiful city I had ever been to would probably be like San Francisco.
Oh, that's a cool city. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Did you
so
go to Alcatraz?
mhm. I went to tour guide school in San Francisco, so we stayed there for a
Oh,
long time
fun.
and got to know the whole city and all the history because that was kind of like our final is what we had to give a tour of San Francisco.
Oh, that's really
So
cool. So you were a
I have a
tour
friendship
guide?
with that city. What?
Were you a tour guide in San
I,
Francisco?
yeah, I was a tour guide Southern California and like Grand Canyon and Las Vegas, LA, San Diego, theme parks, that kind of stuff. So I did that for like 2 years.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool. My
over the road.
mom was a tour guide for the Parthenon in Nashville.
Oh, really?
And this was like, gosh, in the 60s. And I remember my mom telling me about all these tunnels underneath the Parthenon and that they would take you to like downtown. And I was like, no way.
Huh.
And she's like, yeah, they're there. And like, there was restricted access. And I was like, that makes sense. Like, yeah. So
There's a lot of symbolic things going on in that Parthenon
yeah,
with that giant
so
like
much.
80-foot
Athena.
goddess or however tall she is, the Athena.
Yeah, that's Athena. And then Hermes is like on her. There's a William Henry. He's this, author, speaker. He does these tours of the Parthenon and he goes
Mhm.
in and he tells you all about the symbolism of Athena. And like, there's this like wrap, like this image that wraps around her. And he goes through and shows you like what's happening. It's pretty neat. So
Mhm.
it's a lot happening in that place.
Okay. Do you have a favorite style of house? Like your
Yes.
dream house, what kind of style is it in?
I love architecture. It really gets my gears going. It's probably why I'm a real estate agent. I love the way things are built and houses. And I love architecture. So Frank Lloyd Wright has always had a special place in my heart. He is kind of like a more funky, mid-century modern type of vibe, but like funky angles. And I have been to 3 of his homes or across the country just to like tour them and see what they're about and what they're like. And so I like anything kind of more like I don't like the modern of today modern. I like the 60s modern or the 70s modern. And then you like preserve that into like what it would look like today. So I would say it's like very earthy, lots of woods, natural woods, clean lines. Yeah.
Big windows so you could see the scenery.
Yeah. And it's always in the forest. It's always in the trees. So it's like, yeah, I love, love, love that. What about you?
My favorite house style. Probably like Queen Anne or Victorian.
Ooh, yeah.
With all of the details and all of the little bells and whistles and the woodwork. Like if you go to Eureka, California, has some of the most stunning Queen Anne and Victorian houses you've ever seen. And every inch of it is just like a tiny little intricate detail work of art. Like I love that style.
That's really cool. I would say like that would be my second, is the more like ornate, detailed, like historic looking type of home.
Okay, so that was favorite, least favorite. And now we are going to get to the main section where you have your questions and I have my games. So I'm going to let you start it off with your first of your 10 questions for me.
Okay. So I already told you I was going to ask you this. So number 1, why do you like bees so much? And I don't know if people watching know this about Jamie, but she really likes bees. And
I love bees. But why? Okay, so probably my respect for bees started when I had someone who needed help. They had a wound on their leg that was not healing. They were elderly, they were in their 90s. Some people just get, these kinds of injuries that don't heal and they end up, becoming bedridden and things like, and that's what happened to her. So she got a wound on her leg. It grew and grew and grew. The doctors couldn't do anything about it. And she ended up having to just lay in bed all the time because she couldn't walk on her leg anymore. And all I did was I Googled Ayurvedic wound care or something, and it came up and it said Manuka honey. If you put this honey on the wound, it will get better. So I did that for her. Like I would change her dressing and I would just smear some honey on the gauze and put it right on top of the wound, after I cleaned it. And that sucker healed up. I mean, it got a giant black scab over it that finally peeled off, and underneath was all brand new skin. And then, I mean, she was also dying from cancer, but the wound healed. And so the doctors were amazed. They're like, where did you find this miracle cure? I'm like, I just Googled Manuka honey and I bought some and I
I'm a better doctor than you.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the beginning of my interest in honey. And then I just got into bees. I moved to South Carolina and I went into this bee store and they were selling like raw beeswax, and I picked it up and I smelled it and it was just like the best smell that I've ever smelled. I mean, if I could walk around with this block strapped to my face just so I could sniff this beeswax, I loved it. It calmed my nerves. It made me feel centered. It made me feel like I could breathe. I don't know. It was just maybe the scent of all the local flowers and everything that was made in the beeswax. So then I started to make candles with beeswax, and I just loved everything that they produce. So now I use like propolis. I use royal jelly a lot in my diet, in my skincare. And And I just think bees are so cool and amazing, like all on their own. You know, they can fly backwards and up and down, and they're little pollinators, and we couldn't do without them. And then I found out that there's a lot of Orthodox talk about bees, like be like the bee.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've heard that or not, but
I have, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, you know, they're good workers and everything. So I just have a collection now of beeswax and honey. And even though I got stung a couple months ago by a killer bee,
a killer bee?
Yes, it was.
How do you know it was a killer bee?
Because Jay's family is in the pest control business, and we showed him what kind of bee it was, and he told it was an Africanized killer bee. So
yikes. Okay.
I'm like, that's why it hurt so much. But yeah, I just like really respect and love bees a lot.
Okay.
So
I get that.
So for your questions, I made up a game.
Okay. Wow.
It's like Jeopardy.
Okay.
So you need to pick
wow,
a category.
I am so lame.
No.
Okay.
What is your first category that you would like to pick?
I'm going to pick geography.
Geography. Okay. Geography. Okay. Where is the worst smelling place you have ever been?
I'm trying to think
no,
about
smelly places, huh? Have you ever been to the dump? That smells bad.
I mean, I'm trying to think of something like unique, but the one thing that just keeps coming to my house is somebody's house, because I am a real estate agent. And so I go into people's homes a lot to show them, and y'all nasty out there. Like, it is disgusting sometimes. And I mean, most houses are pleasant and they're presented, and a handful of times can't even go in the house. Like, it smells, it's dirty, whatever they're cooking with, or like they just don't care about trash. Yeah. So I would say people's houses is the grossest thing I've ever been into.
Okay. That's funny, because that's one of the reasons, like, I would never want to live in a condo, because I don't want to smell other people's cooking and their laundry and all of their smells.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know. That. And I would say I'm really sensitive to smell, like, like to a degree where people are like, you smell that? And I'm like, yes, it's almost like hyper smell. I think I have
you have this super sniffer.
I have a super sniffer, and I do think I have super taste buds. Have you ever heard of those?
No. Is that a real thing?
Those are real. And I can't eat onions, and I'm an adult, and I can't eat them because I can taste them and they're disgusting. And I also don't like cilantro, but that's like a genetic thing. But yeah, I'm like weird about taste and smells. So something right here is like super sensitive. Okay.
All right. You get 200 points for geography.
Oh, yay. That was a good one.
Okay. Let me do one more in geography, because I have many. Okay. What is the weirdest place you've ever spent the night?
Man. Well, when I was 14 or 15, this came to mind. I was on a mission trip to Glacier National Park because we were witnessing or doing ministry to an Indian reservation up there. It was in Montana. And so, I had to spend the night in this like church in the middle of Glacier National Park, like at the base of it. And it was like on the edge of the Indian reservation, but we couldn't stay on the Indian reservation. So like we just slept on the floor of this like cafeteria portion of this church. It was like a non-denominational church. And I just remember thinking like, I thought we were going to like get like a hotel room or something, but it was not that way at all.
Okay. So
yeah, that was weird.
Church somewhere in Montana. Is that where it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
All right. Geography, 400 points.
All right.
Hey, that's your turn.
I'm so good at this. Okay. Your turn. Okay, what's your favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby? Okay. So I have like a million of them. Probably right now, it's going to be painting. Someone gave me a kit for pointillism where you just paint with little dots.
Ooh, cool. Okay.
And I've been having a lot of fun with that. Like the first thing.
I remember I saw the one you gave Jay's mom.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I was like,
it's so cool.
Give artworks for Christmas. So I'll make Jay's mom something every year. And yeah, that was my very first attempt at pointillism. And it came out okay, but right now I am doing a wolf for Jay and I'm really liking how it came out. But I mean, my hobbies, like I love making beaded jewelry. I love making beeswax candles. I love making my own cosmetics. I like food, like not everyday cooking, but special occasion food, cookies or baking or something, Coolidge, Costa or whatever. Hobbies. I love music. I play guitar, I play piano, I sing. I have not been doing that. I've been very neglectful of music for a long time just because we've been so busy and I've been learning other art forms and things. So, but Jay and I are going to get back into music real fast. And
I think that's good.
Yeah, maybe someday soon we'll break out with him singing and me playing guitar because he has a hidden talent that no one knows about. He's a really good singer and he's never been trained.
No.
Man, if you have like raw talent, you're better than me. And I went to school for music. But here's the thing I painted for his mom for Christmas.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's pointillism. And so like every little thing is a dot.
Yeah. It's really cool. I just remember she had like tons of artwork in this room. And of all the artwork in that room, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that over there. And she was like,
out of everything.
I picked it out of all of them.
And you're like, did you paint that? I'm like, how would you even know that? Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And really like, it was like a showstopper. You could sell that stuff.
Oh, thanks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm having fun doing that.
Cool.
Your turn. Pick another category.
I'm going to say science and nature.
Okay. Science and nature. Have you ever seen a ghost or paranormal activity?
Ooh. One time.
Okay.
And I don't like telling this story because like, I mean, I'm going to tell it obviously, but, I feel stupid saying it sometimes, but like we all know if you're listening, like we all believe in another realm and we know that other things are coexisting that we can't see. But I have felt things quite frequently, even recently, that are scary or don't feel good. And I know what those are, but I've only seen something one time, like in this waking consciousness state. And I was 17 and I had just gotten home from high school and I was at my dad's house and I had a part-time job that I worked like 3 days a week or something. And so I think I had like an hour and a half to 2 hour break before I had to go to my job. And I was really tired. So I laid down in my bed. It was about 4 o'clock, 3 or 4 o'clock. And I just like closed my eyes to rest. Oh, there's Pima. And I remember thinking like, I can't go to sleep. Like I've got to get up. And I think I'd been laying there maybe 5-10 minutes max. And I was still thinking about things. And I suddenly felt this presence lay on top of my chest. And I immediately went paralyzed. Like my entire body went paralyzed, but my eyeballs were like blinking. Like I was like looking up at my ceiling, like what is happening to my body? I can't move my body. And then I felt that presence move down to the end of my bed. But again, the presence was still there. I could still feel it, but my body's paralyzed. So I can't move. So I'm looking down at the end of my bed, and this is where it gets weird. And I don't know how to explain this, but this happened when I was 17 and I could recite every detail to you to this day. But the end of my bed turned into like a liquid, and this head like comes up from the foot of my bed, and it's like demonic looking, and it's like draped in like liquid, and it's looking at me.
Ew.
And I can't.
Like black goo, or what kind of liquid?
It was dark for sure, but it was like almost like shiny wetness, you know?
Okay.
But it was dark, and it was a face, and it like had hollow eyes and like this hollow mouth, and the mouth was open and it was looking at me. And I remember praying, like I couldn't speak anything, but I was praying mentally. And I was like, at the time, all I knew to do was like plead the blood of Jesus over me, or like I just knew I had to say the name of Jesus out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying so hard to do that it was like I was fighting my body. And when it was like finally came to, it was gone. My body could move. And I just was like in this sheer panic. Like I was like broke out in a sweat. I had like saliva like coming out of my mouth because I was trying to speak so violently and nothing would come out. And so I immediately called my mom, and because she lived in a different house, and I told my mom about it. And my mom was like, pack your things and get out of the house. Like there's something evil in the house. And so I did. And I didn't talk about that experience for a really long time because it was just so scary and weird. And then a couple of years later, I learned about sleep paralysis. And that was part of my journey into like almost kind of like a nihilistic point of view. I was like, oh, everything in the world can be answered by science.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know about sleep paralysis. No one had told me that. I think I'm having this spiritual paranormal experience, but in reality, I'm just having like a neurological, like sleep disorder type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I'm to a point now where I can blend the two and say, I really did have an experience because I know what I felt. But I haven't had sleep paralysis in a really long time, but there was a stint between like, I had that one at 17, and then between like 24 and probably like 27, I would have to pray a lot just as I got in the bed because I was so scared I was like going to experience again.
That's crazy. So I had something similar. I was in a hotel room in West Virginia, and this, you know, when you have a dream that you're like, that wasn't just a dream, like you can tell the difference. So it was this black bat it was pretty demonic, and it was in the corner, and it came and it laid on my chest, and it threw up a cold liquid. on my chest and shoulders, and I could feel the coldness of it. Felt like ice water, like it would and ice water all over my chest. And then I got bronchitis, and I'd never had any kind of respiratory infection or any cough, or like even as a child, like I never got weird infections like that. And the day that happened, I got bronchitis from nowhere. So I was like,
whoa.
yeah, that's similar to your thing that
Yeah, the
landed
chest
on your
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got more paranormal stories than that, but they're pretty dark.
Mm.
So what is your next question?
Okay. What did you want to be when you were 10 years old, or like a preteen?
Okay. 10 years old. I guess I wanted to be like Mariah Carey.
Okay.
Or Whitney Houston. I wanted to be a diva. I wanted to be like a singer, like a beautiful lady on a stage, singing amazing songs. Yeah. And then as I got a little older, I went through this phase where I wanted to be a lawyer for some reason, because I was watching a lot of shows. I really love the part in the courtroom drama where they like get you to admit that you did it or whatever. Like the person on the stand, like they just are so smart that they solve the entire case right there in front of everybody. When I was a kid, I always thought that was so cool. So I was like,
Dazzled by this.
yeah, I'll be a lawyer. But then when I grew up and I realized like how much work and stuff that goes into that, I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. But
Yeah.
I wanted to be a diva.
A diva. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, those were like, they were pretty iconic I mean, we had a lot of divas running around at that time.
Yeah. That was
Like Celine Dion and
the golden
yeah.
era of divas.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion. Who else? Aretha Franklin. I loved Motown, so I wanted to be like
Mm-hmm.
a power.
Oh yeah, I love Toni Braxton back like in that era a little bit later.
I remember.
Yeah, she was my fave. Sade.
Mm-hmm.
I still rock out to some Sade like all the time.
And me and like Britney Spears, Beyonce, that generation were all the same age.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I thought that was possible. I thought maybe I could go to Hollywood and be in movies or get discovered as I always knew that my talent wasn't, up to par of like a Mariah Carey, but I'm like, I can sing as good as Britney Spears. That's not hard. But
You just talk and then they like throw an auto tune over you and you go, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently she's a good dancer. And I mean,
so that's another thing. I can't dance, so I could have never been a pop star.
yeah.
I have to know exactly like what the step is and what the move is. I don't have,
So like when someone's like on a beat, can you find the beat and clap?
Yeah, I can keep time and I can clap on a beat, but I'm really self-conscious like about my body and like the movements and stuff. So people are like, dance. I'm like, I can't just dance. Like I need to know the steps, or you have to show me what the dance move is and I can copy that, but I'm not a dancer.
So you like the Cupid shuffle?
Yeah. We were going to learn the Napoleon Dynamite dance together.
That was great. Okay.
Okay, your turn.
Entertainment.
Okay. Let's see. What TV family most reminds you of your own family?
Jerry Springer.
Okay.
But
you are not the father.
No, let me think. Realistically,
while you think, I'll tell you something funny. I actually knew somebody who had a sister who went on Jerry Springer, and it was like one of those paternity things. Like, she had 10 guys lined up to see who was the dad of her.
Oh my gosh!
And it was none of them.
Oh, that's so
10
bad.
or 12 people up there, and it was like none of them up there with the father.
That's really bad.
Yeah, I'm sure your family wasn't that bad.
No, not that bad. Not at all. Um, that's a hard one. I don't know if there is like a family. I mean, like I have a sister 10 years older than me. She's half. And then I have like an Irish twin brother that's only 13 months younger than me. I'm going to have to pass on that one. I
Okay.
can't think.
I just came up with one right now. Like, if my family had to be a TV family, it would be like the Beverly Hillbillies without the money.
Yeah.
My dad's from West Virginia. So
Oh, I think your dad's probably like a star in
yeah,
his own way.
we're the Clampets, but we did not strike oil. So yeah. Okay, how about another one from entertainment? How about
Okay.
here's a good one. Which fictional world would you want to live in?
I always wanted to be an elf from Lord of the Rings. So that would be really probably my ideal.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're from Rivendell 90210.
Yes, I want the long hair. I want the natural skin. I want the trees and the waterfalls and the long, pretty dresses and the little headband. And
Totally. That's an excellent choice. Okay.
I want the horses. I want it all, man. All of it. Ooh, that's a good one. What about you?
That would probably be one of my top ones, or I really liked the Avatar world.
Ooh, me too.
I know that
was great.
crazy, but I liked the the nature part of it, and yeah, just that you could like communicate with animals and everything was pristine and adventurous, and yeah. I like Pandora a lot.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, what's your next?
Okay, so my next question for you. What's a place you've always wanted to visit?
That I haven't already been to?
Yeah.
Okay, there's two things. So one is like I want to go to the best beaches because I haven't been to a lot of tropical beaches. Like I've traveled a lot, but it was always to cities or very like things with lots of culture and art and things like that. But now that I'm older, I really want to go to like a pink sands beach, like in the Bahamas or Fiji, or you know those resorts where things are coming right out of the water, like they're built.
Yeah,
like,
the Maldives.
Yeah, Maldives. Yeah.
Maldives.
Okay,
yeah.
So every beach in the world like that, I want to go to, or Switzerland.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, not gonna lie, there's a part of me that wants to go to CERN and check it out. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the European countries that I never got to go to yet, and I always thought Switzerland would be fun.
Ooh, I gotta. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, your turn.
History.
Okay. If you could time travel, where would you go?
That's hard.
I think everyone's number one would probably be like crucifixion, but other than that,
yeah. I'm trying not to give Bible like the standard Christian like answer.
80-15. Yeah. Okay.
Because like I can do that, but like let's like maybe.
Are there
I
any
mean,
other eras in history that are like fascinating, like you would want to see?
the Egyptian era, super fascinated with all that. I would love to maybe like just be a fly on the wall and like see how the pyramids were built, and was it by sound? Was it not? Come on. You know, I also am really interested. I'd like to go to the dinosaur age.
Okay.
See the dinosaurs.
That's so funny you said that because I don't know if you heard this or not, and I really want to do a show on it, but I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I don't know if all of the dinosaurs are real.
As I was saying that, I was like, everyone's going to be like, dinosaurs weren't real.
I was one of the first people to say something like that because we were going to all these museums and theme parks and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know about this dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was at, I mean, if they were real and that was a thing, I'd like to be there and see that. But like, I will say I went to this museum in Philadelphia last October, and they held all these renderings of like dinosaurs. And I was like, where did they find all these bones? And my boyfriend was like, oh, those aren't the real bones. And I'm like, well, what are these? And he was like, oh, see that little box over there? They're saying like, those are the bones. And it's like this tiny little box with like little bone renderings. And I'm like, so what the hell is that thing? Mm-hmm. They're like, that's what they're telling us it would have looked like.
Yeah. They find fragments and then they make a giant beast out of their fragment.
Like, yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. So Kristin really wants to go to Jurassic Park and Egypt.
Yeah. Egypt. These are also basic. There's gotta be like, like, in the Bhagavad Gita, where like they had the battle. If that was real, I would like to be there.
Okay.
That sounds really intense and dangerous. So yeah, there you go.
Just be a spectator at the War of the Gods or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay.
Okay, your question. I'm deleting the ones I've asked you. Okay, this will be a good one. Do you remember the first conspiracy that opened your eyes to want to start digging into weird, fringy things?
Okay. I do, because it was my mom. We would go to these Bible bookstores and they would have these VHS tapes that were like bootleg copied tapes of an original that they would sell the copies, you know? Mm-hmm. So she got this copy and it was called the Clinton Chronicles. And we watched it and it was about all of their like nefarious drug deals and running cocaine out of Arkansas and how everyone around them ends up like, you know, unaliving themselves, apparently, allegedly. So I would have to be around like so young, 14, 15. So that's the first time I ever had a paradigm shift to, you can't just blindly trust, you know, America and your leaders and people that are in positions of power, because they're doing all these shady things and no one's even like, I'm like, if they can make a documentary and they have all this proof and all of this stuff happened and now he's the president, then there's got to be something wrong. And she would listen to a lot of like Bob Larson on the radio. Do you know who that guy is? Okay, he's this old timey exorcist. Who knows if
Ooh.
that stuff was real, but so people would call in and demons would come out on the phone and he would like, battle them or whatever. And probably a lot of that was for
phone battles with demons.
Yeah. So, but that got my mind into like spiritual battle world. Like this stuff, could be real or it is real. And there's things that we don't see that are affecting us. So yeah, that was like the very first stuff. And then I got, when I grew up, I would watch, your regular documentaries like, who was that one that did the one about the Flint, Michigan and the
Aaron Brockovich.
Huh? No,
Aaron
the funky guy with that baseball cap.
Oh, Michael Moore?
Yeah. Okay. So I watched those and then I picked up a David Icke book and then it was just like,
oh, there you go.
Yeah. Black Diamond ski slope down into the rabbit hole from there.
Cool.
What about you? What was your first?
I think we probably had very similar upbringings where my mom exposed me to just like, I remember this preacher came to our church and he was a traveling evangelist. And this is the first one that really captivated me. I think I was 11, 12, maybe. But this evangelist, he was a free diver in the Bermuda Triangle and he sold his books and everything. And he would go into a specific coordinate of the Bermuda Triangle and he could start hearing wailing and gnashing of teeth and the temperature of the water started getting hot. And so he was convinced the portal to hell was in the Bermuda Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a kid, I'm like, what? Like hell is in the Bermuda Triangle? Then as a kid, you're already convinced like the Bermuda Triangle is like the coolest thing ever.
Uh-huh.
And so I remember going to school and telling friends about this. My mom bought the book. And so anyway, that was kind of like, we also had this like Y2K was a couple of years later. And I was just exposed to a lot of people adults who were like reading not normal, like they were Christians, but they weren't like your button-up Baptist Christians that were like high society types of people. These were like backwoods, like redneck religious type of like people that were like doing, I mean, there was a lot of smart people. And not everyone was like poor redneck. I mean, I remember a lot of people that were really cool that would come to like these home meetings. But they were really into, the government and, the Antichrist and not trusting the government. And so I already had this, like, maybe the government isn't as they seem. Then as I got older, I was exposed to, the very first one, I think it was water, like fluoride and like chemtrails, that kind of stuff. And then I got into aliens. And then I feel like I kind of went the Bruce Lipton. I don't know. It's funny how they all just start pouring in once you open yourself up. It's just like everything just starts pouring in.
To each other, like
all linked.
That classic conspiracy image of the cork board with the pictures and all of the strings connecting everything. That's like so true.
Yeah. And once you find something, you can't stop. It's just, I was really trying to figure it all out. World War II is really fascinating to me. So like the whole hollow earth theory or Operation something jump. Those were probably one of my, like some of the first ones of like, did Hitler really get killed or is he in Argentina? And like, why do they do Nazi parades in Argentina every year to this day? And why are a lot of the ex-Nazis or their ancestors in, or I guess grandfathers and great grandfathers at this time, like living in Argentina. So
yeah. Something you said reminded me of it. If you're taught about the tribulation and the rapture and things like that when you're a child, you start to look at governments in a different way, because you're like, well, if they're going to organize all of this one world government, then they have to be corrupt.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I've been hearing about the New World Order my entire life. Like I've been waiting on it to like roll out, and I'm like, oh, here it is. Everybody's like, what?
I remember the only people who would say those words were like TV preachers and stuff, you know, on TBN and Hal Lindsey and those guys, you know, Jack Van Impe.
Oh yeah. So, do you remember a guy named Perry Stone? He was like a prophetic, apocalyptic type preacher. He always talked about the end times, and I really got into him as like a teenager, like hardcore. It's Perry Stone fan over here.
I read all of the Left Behinds.
Oh, I did too.
Like I still have those whole series, hardback first edition. Like
those are so bad. Those are so bad.
Around, if you can even imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your question, right? So it's my turn. Okay, so we got some more categories here.
Oh, sorry. I'm like deleting. I mean, I'm not going to pick sports because I hate sports.
Well, I have some sports questions, so you have to pick it.
Let's just pick that one and get it over with.
Okay. Sports. Finish this sentence. If blank was a sport, I would win the gold medal.
It's cleaning.
Cleaning. Okay. That's good.
I love to clean.
Okay.
I love to vacuum. I love to dust. I love to make my bed. I love a clean house.
Nice.
I'm not a great cook, but I'm a great cleaner.
Mine will probably be napping. Okay. Your turn.
Okay. So I'm kind of keeping like the more ascended type of questions to the end. I want to know who your favorite teacher has been. And when I say teacher, like, you don't have to like say grade school. I mean, it can be anything, whatever you think that means to you.
Okay. My favorite grade school teacher, her name was Mrs. Penza. And that's just, you know, the one you have to pick when you're a little kid of all of the teachers. But then I had this teacher in community college. His name was Mr. Libby. And he was a history teacher. And I'd never had a teacher that you could just tell he was so passionate about history. Like that was his jam. He was nothing but a walking encyclopedia of history. He loved it. His classes were amazing because they were just a story time. There was hardly any reading. There was hardly any like essays that we had to do. It was just him telling you this amazing story in an hour and a half or however long the class was. Twice a week. I could not wait to get to class to hear what happened and the way that he would tell it. So yeah, he was.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And there's really, you notice a difference between like high school teachers and college teachers, because college teachers really dive into the subject that they teach. You know, so they're all about that. And that was the first time I'd ever had a teacher like that. So, cause I skipped high school, you know, I went from elementary school to college. So yeah, Mr. Libby, if you're out there, you were the most amazing history teacher of all time.
That's cool.
I had the same question for you in history category, actually. Do you have a favorite teacher?
Yeah, I mean, when I think favorite teacher, I think someone who radically shifted the way I look at reality, or has taught me a new way of looking at life in general. And so I would say for me, those teachers presented themselves probably like 10 years ago, which was Eckhart Tolle. And he's kind of like a new age author. He's considered a new age author, but I don't think he's new age. I think he's just very like, he helps you understand your brain, like
philosopher kind of.
He's definitely a philosopher. He was a psychologist for a really long time. And then he had like a spiritual awakening, and he just teaches you how to be peaceful and content and full of gratitude. And I really like that. I think a lot of us need to really kind of go to school for that sometimes, because I think that would solve a lot of problems. And then Wayne Dyer, he was a psychologist as well. He was more new age. He believed in like remote surgeries, and he was like a John of God follower. There were some things about, I think he was so open to things that he was just involved in a lot, but he really taught, he was he's a great teacher. So he loves poetry, and he teaches a lot about poetry, stages of life, your relationship with kids, or your relationship with your parents or coworkers, and what those should look like. And just like really basic practical things to help you just be a kind person in life. I can say Jesus is my favorite teacher. And I'm sure if I don't say that, people are like, but you forgot the Lord. No, he's my favorite of all, but Gigi's losing it, guys. Can you hear her?
Oh yeah. She's got the zoomies.
It's nuts. But yeah, like Paul out of the Bible, a good teacher. But I'd say like modern day for me, the Tao Te Ching, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, those have been great teachers for me.
Okay.
They've made me a better person. I will say that.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one time my teacher, Mr. Libby in college, he was telling a story about the way they treated children in the factories during the Industrial Revolution. And people were crying.
Oh, wow. He must have like had that gift of delivery.
He was a gifted orator about history, and just, you could feel like the oppression and the fear and everything, and all the facts he had. And just like, that was a memorable day when he was just like saying how terrible children were treated.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so 200 points for history.
Okay, well, you just asked me one. I only have 2 left.
Okay. Okay, one more for you then for history. Describe your worst holiday. Do you ever have a really bad birthday or a bad Christmas or a super blowout on Thanksgiving?
I had a bad Thanksgiving, but I don't want to go into that on here.
Okay.
Those are like, like family secrets, you have like,
Don't embarrass anybody, but
those are the things that stay in the family unit. But I will say
Thanksgiving, and what else?
I had a bad Thanksgiving one year. I am the type of person that really builds things up in my head. And I'm like, ooh, my birthday's coming. Everyone wants to celebrate me. I'm going to have a surprise party, and I'm going to be showered with gifts the moment I wake up. And, someone's going to be cooking me breakfast. I mean, I like literally create this image in my head. And then my birthday gets here, and it's like, oh, nobody really cares. And so I mean, like the ones that love me, they care, but like not as much as I think they should.
Right.
And so I've really had to just calm that down, those expectations around my birthday, because I come across as like, oh, it's just a birthday. It's another day. No big deal. But in my head, I'm like, I'm going to have a giant balloon waiting for me that I'm going to crawl into. And there's going to be a flash dance of like, happy birthday, Kristin, across the city. I mean, it's major. So
Okay.
The only reason I've had a bad birthday is because my expectations have been stupid. Yeah.
Okay. When is your birthday? So I don't forget.
Everyone, it is September the 1st.
Okay.
So I expect a lot. I'm kidding. I'm really working on that.
September 1st. That's funny.
When is your birthday?
It's June 24th.
Okay, everyone.
I expect a happy birthday from all of you. Everyone.
Yeah. Like all the diamonds and rubies. This one, out of control, guys. Let's see if I can get her on. Hey, say hi.
Gigi.
Ooh, look at that.
When's Gigi's
you
birthday?
Play? Sometime in November.
Okay.
Wait. You want to get down? Okay.
All right. Is it your turn to ask?
It's my turn. Okay. So what is the most inspiring or comforting verse or story in the Bible that has helped you on your walk, your Christian walk?
Probably Job.
Okay. Yeah, he's a good one. Poor man.
I have that mentality like, I don't deserve this. Like, why am I, pressed upon by this thing or that or whatever? So I have that complex of like, why am I suffering like this when I didn't do anything wrong? But that's not, true, but I have that mentality. So yeah, like Job has helped me keep it together a lot. Because it reminds me that I don't necessarily deserve what I'm feeling. Does that make sense?
Right.
And yeah, so I'm trying to think if there anything else.
And that's a good one. I think a lot of people relate to that.
Because I'm like, my personality is just like, I want to do everything perfect and I want to do the right thing all the time. And then my brain feels like if I know everything and if I always do the right thing, I'll never suffer. And that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that helps me recalibrate. Like there might not have been anything that you could do differently to make the consequence different. It could just be some like spiritual warfare or something like that. So
yeah. And I think that when I'm going through a hard time, I always try to remember like life is suffering and I've got to learn how to have a relationship with that suffering and almost like welcome it and say, what are you going to teach me? And how am I going to react to you? Mm-hmm. I think that's been a big maturity leap for me, is like seeing the suffering or the hardships that come in my life and saying, I don't want you here, but I know what goes down always goes back up. Like, it's almost like this life is kind of like this, unless you're Job and you just stay down at the bottom. But I have this, almost like this optimism, even in the worst times. 'Cause I'm like, well, it can't get worse than, I guess it could get worse than this, but it's going to have to get better at some point. So
I really liked that scene in that movie, Man of God, about St. Paisios, where he sits down by the beggar and he's like, I have gratitude that God has allowed me to see the world the way you see it. Do you remember that part?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that sticks in my mind a lot. I'm like, dang, I need to have that kind of attitude. Like whatever comes, I have to be thankful for that, you know?
That was a good movie,
Yeah.
like really good. I want to speak like a soft Greek man, like just to be a soft Greek man.
Yes.
Yes. Arts and leisure.
Okay. Here's something about me that you guys don't know. I love games. I love board games and trivia night and
Ooh, I do too.
yeah. So whatever quizzy games, game shows, I love them. So that's what gave me the idea for all this. Arts and leisure. And I remember in that game Trivia Pursuit, those little pie wedges.
Yes.
I loved that little when I was a kid. Okay, arts and leisure. What song do you have memorized that you could sing from the top of your head? Like, what is your karaoke jam?
Ooh, that's like hurting my brain. Um, it's like definitely something from like the early 2000s.
Backstreet Boys?
Probably NSYNC, or I didn't really like Backstreet. I was an NSYNC fan. Um, that one's too hard.
Okay, how about a different one? Okay, which fictional character would you marry if you had to?
Ooh, fictional character.
Yeah.
I really like the Prince types, like so. Hold on, it's coming to me. Like, I know we just had the whole like Disney thing, but I do love the character of like the Beast.
Okay.
Like I like the idea of like being able to see past someone's exterior and into their like heart,
Okay.
and then they become like this beautiful person. I don't know.
That's funny.
What would you like? Tell me yours.
I was
You're like
thinking
an
about this when
alien.
I was writing it. I was like, it's funny you said you want to live in Lord of the Rings because I was like, I'd probably who'd make a better husband, Samwise or Legolas? Because Samwise
Oh yeah.
totally useful and loyal, and he likes to eat and cook, and he looks like he's really fun, and he was the actual hero of the whole thing, keeping everybody together. But Legolas was real cute.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with him.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, you're marrying Legolas?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll marry Samwise.
And then we'll just retreat to Rivendell.
Yes.
So there you go.
Okay.
It's done. I don't know. I like the long hair kind of situation.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have more for me?
I have one more.
Okay.
Why did you pick your saint when you became Orthodox? So who is your saint and why did you pick her?
My saint is Anastasia, deliverer from potions, or in the Greek, it's Anastasia Pharmacolitria, I think is how you
Ooh.
say it. And I don't even know how I came across it, but when you're in a catechism class, they tell you to read about the saints and find one that you resonate with. And as soon as I read her name, I was just like, that's it, because I have a joke on my Facebook where it says occupation. It says defense against the dark arts professor, like from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've always seen myself, because I have tried to expose all of this dark arts, and magic is real and spells are real. And it's interesting because for the longest time, I've been trying to explain to people that you're under a spell, and they'd be like, what do you mean I'm under a spell? What does that even mean? And so I took it upon myself to write these books explaining, what magic is, that it's real, that it has effect on, reality, what sorcery is. And now what I have spent 15 years trying to explain, everybody knows it now under the label of mass formation psychosis.
Yeah.
So it has a label now. Now I can
Yes.
say, okay, yes, you are under spell, and it's this scientific.
This is how you've heard it.
Yeah. So I'm like, spending all my time trying to prove magic when I could have just said mass. I didn't know what that was until that guy was on Joe Rogan or whatever. But
Malone.
What I've been trying to say, you're under a spell.
Yeah.
So Anastasia, she was a Roman in, I think around the year 300. And she would help people who were possessed. She would help people who were affected by magic and sorcery. And she would help people who were in prison. She would bring them food. And she was known for being able to free people who were under the influence of sorcery, basically. I'm like, that's her. That's it. That's me.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. What about your saint?
So I do plan to get baptized. Hopefully in the next month. We're having some complications.
Uh-huh.
I have chosen, I believe, I mean, it could change, but I've chosen St. Catherine. And I just felt very connected with her story about being very read. She liked books. She was, as a woman in that time period, there wasn't a lot of women that were knowledgeable the same way men were. And there's an image of her with like really neat symbolism around her, and then books just kind of stacked on top of each other. And I need to learn a little bit more about like her story, but I do know that she was a martyr for not falling into her father's wishes into paganism, because she knew the truth. And so, yeah, I really like that she had this knowledge, and then she trusted it and she believed in it. And then, and that was her Christian faith was like the most important out of all that.
And so that's St. Catherine of the Wheel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's interesting how a lot of times the martyrs are pictured with the instrument of their death on their icon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, those were really excellent, probing, deep, thoughtful questions you brought. And I hope you liked my game. Kristin,
it was okay.
It was okay.
I really liked your game. Like that was, I need to step it up. I mean, I was just like, here's my questions.
That's okay. I've got some rapid fire questions, and then we have one more little game, and then we have the story of our saint this week. So you want to go ahead with that?
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
What is your national treasure quest? If you could go like questing for any artifact or any like treasure or piece of art, what would you
The Holy Grail.
Holy Grail. Okay, that's the good one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Name some place you will never go again.
Probably or Cabo.
Cabo, is it not fun? Just not worth it? Okay.
Not in my opinion.
Okay. What could you give a TED Talk about?
Light therapy and mitochondria.
Okay, let's do a show about that then.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. What amazing thing have you done that no one saw you do?
can't think of anything.
You can say pass.
Pass.
Okay. If you didn't need sleep, what would you do with your spare time?
Write books.
Okay.
Mm.
What do people usually come to you for help with?
Advice.
Advice?
Just,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Name something that will make you immediately angry.
Somebody hits me in the head. Don't touch my head.
Okay.
I get angry.
Okay.
Like if somebody like accidentally knocks me in the head or like a ball were to hit me in the head.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know why.
Okay.
Don't let my head hit.
Mine is if you honk at me, oh man, I will go from 0 to 100 in anger. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
What is the best compliment you've ever received?
I didn't know it at the time, but I did in my high school. I got most considerate my senior year. And I was just like, oh, that's just like the most generic one. And like I should have been grateful. I got a superlative, but my English teacher actually came up to me and she told me after the superlatives were announced, she goes, I just want you to know that in my opinion, you just received the best one. And I was like, really? Yeah. She said, yeah. She said, you always think of others all the time. And it's obviously your peers recognize that. And I was like,
that's so sweet.
It was too immature to like take it in. But now as an adult, I'm like, wow, okay. I'm good with that. That sounds awesome. Good. Yeah.
Mine would have to be one time I was getting ready for the arrival of someone who's going to stay at our house, and my housemates were kind of making fun of me a little bit. And one said, you act like the president is coming to see us. And the other one said, Jamie treats everyone like the president. And I was like, oh, that's nice. They weren't trying to be nice. They were trying to roast me, but I was,
right. I actually,
yeah.
I had someone come to my house one time for a dinner and I was getting roasted. And basically like my family members were like, you're acting like the Queen of England's coming over because I had like the eraser pads, like I was like scrubbing the mailbox right outside my front door. And I was
love
like
magic erasers.
That was it. And like, I was like doing all the cabinets and I was like, yeah, maybe that's how I feel. So nice. Yeah.
Okay. What chance encounter changed your life forever in the most dramatic way?
I worked in the music industry briefly and it was really toxic. I mean, like the stories, whoa. I knew I wasn't supposed to be in this world and I started applying for other jobs and I was only 27 and wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do or figure out what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted this one job. And then when I got it, it was like, no. And then one day this older man calls me and he said, I have your resume and I'd like to talk with you. And he sounded so old and sweet and gentle. And I was like, okay. And he said, I own a brokerage firm in Nashville. So I went in and I said, how do you have my resume? I don't remember sending it to a real estate office. And he was like, I have it. And so I really don't know how he got my resume. But him and I had such a connection. And he was quirky enough to where like, I felt comfortable with him. He wasn't like uptight, but he was in an uptight environment, but he wasn't uptight. Anyway, he hired me pretty much on the spot and it completely changed the course of my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What stereotype do you live up to?
In my head, I've got a few going. I would say the organic, holistic, kind of like in shape, hippie type of girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I don't want to live up to that. It is a stereotype, but I also really like my ginger shots every day. So
Okay.
sue me, it's like, I don't really care what you think. So I'm just proudly going to my juice bar and getting my ginger shots. Yep.
Okay. Tell us the story of one of your scars. Do you have any scars?
Yeah. So I thought I was a pro mountain biker for about 2 years. When I was like 17, 18, and I bought a Specialized mountain bike, which is like the top tier type of, like, if you're into mountain biking, it's like the best. And it was a rock copper. And I had a little bike thing on the back of my Saturn that I drove around. And I would go, I don't know how I got into rock or mountain biking, but I think I had a group of friends that did it. And then there was a cute guy that did it. And so I just like kept spiraling into mountain biking. And I would go out to the woods by myself and mountain bike by myself. And one time I was out with a group of people and I jumped like a log and I fell onto the bike pedal and it literally went into my shin and it cut my shin open. And anyway, I still have like a gnarly scar on the top of my
Is that
shin.
something you could show?
Yeah, I could show.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh no, I can't show you.
Oh, you can't show
I mean,
it?
maybe. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. I mean, I can see it right now.
Yeah.
When I'm tan, it shows more because the scar doesn't tan like my body does.
Yeah.
But like I'm so white from winter and I am so sun depleted that it almost blends in with my skin. So I'm not gonna, but I will in person. If you ever see me, just ask me, look at my mountain biking scar.
I have a scar right here.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. When I was a toddler, we went to visit my grandma and she had a little dog and it was under the chair and I crawled under the chair to see it, but dogs don't like that. When they're hiding, they don't want you to come in their cave or whatever. So it bit me right here and we didn't go to the doctor or anything. They just put like a butterfly thing and it kept on opening. And so, yeah, freaked my parents out for a while, but now I have the strength of a puppy and a grown woman because I was bitten by a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it had to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. You ready?
Yep.
Finish this sentence. The first time I walked into his house, I saw blank and knew this would never work out. So what is the deal breaker in this guy's house that makes you never want to date him?
I saw his bed on the floor.
Okay. No bed frame. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's just like, what?
Did you ever hear that story about the girl who went to her guy she was dating's house and he had no bed? He just had a pile of clothes that he called his nest.
Oh, no.
And he's like, why don't you like my nest? It's comfortable. You want to sleep in my nest with me? She's like, I don't want to. So.
Oh, that's like serial killer vibes right there.
It's
like,
so funny. I think my object would be if I walked into his house and I saw one of those like computer chairs that look like a race car driver. Like a gamer chair that you're meant to sit in for like 8 hours straight, like Kumpad chair. Like, if I saw one of those in your house, I am turning.
We need to make a list for all the guys that watch our show. Like, do not do this because it's an automatic like that is such a good one right there. Oh man. I'd be like, oh, you just told me everything about you because you own this chair.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so that was our last question, and we're gonna play one more quick game, and then we're gonna read the story. You ready?
Okay.
This game
all about.
It's called This or That.
Okay.
You ready? Just
yes.
Off the top of your head. Don't think about it.
Ready.
Mind. You ready? Okay.
Yep.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Drive or fly?
Drive.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Fur or feathers?
Fur.
Are you early or late?
Late.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Beer or champagne?
Champagne.
Bath or shower?
Shower.
Tacos or pizza?
Ooh, that's hard. Pizza.
Pizza, okay. Drivers or passenger?
Driver.
Messy or tidy? We already know that.
Tidy.
Money or intelligence?
Intelligence.
Okay.
Because then I can make money.
I think I'd rather have money than be smart.
Well, the only reason I picked that because I was like, then I'd be smart enough to make money.
That's not always true though. Like I know.
Well, I want money,
really
so maybe money.
Huh?
Maybe it would be money.
Yeah. I think money is harder. Anyways, planning or winging it?
Winging it.
Okay. Talk or text?
Talk.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Indian or Chinese?
Indian.
Milkshake or smoothie?
Smoothie.
Play or musical?
Play.
Gummy bears or gummy worms?
Ooh, gummy worms.
Worms. Okay. Pause life or rewind life?
Ooh, rewind.
Okay. Jungle or desert?
Desert.
Eat out or order in?
Eat out.
Okay. Museum or theme park?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm going to say theme park.
Theme park? Okay, that's fun. All right.
Man, these are good.
You won the game. All right, last stupid little question, and then we'll read the story.
I wish I could do these to you.
Well, we can have a part 2.
Okay.
Okay. So for you have to marry this guy, and you can only pick 2 attributes. Attractive, nice, or successful. Pick 2.
I'm going to say nice and successful.
Attractive also under that category is hygiene. So he might be smelly.
Oh, yikes.
It's hard.
Maybe then I have to have somebody that's nice to me. So
nice and attractive.
I guess that would be it. Nice and attractive. We can live in the slums together. But we're clean.
Yeah, that's an impossible question because it's like,
hold on. You're married. So what would you pick though?
Oh man.
Out of that triad.
Nice and successful, I guess.
Even if he's like gross and he doesn't brush his teeth and he smells and doesn't believe in baths and he's got hair all over his back and he wants to kiss you and stuff.
Okay. I'll make the money. If I can only have 2.
You have to have clean teeth. It's important. Yeah.
Well, that was super fun. I hope you liked my game shows.
Man, your game show is the best.
And now we're going to talk about the saint of this week, and we are almost to Pascha. It's so exciting, about 2 weeks away, and this week we are venerating Saint Mary of Egypt. And if you've never heard this story, it's pretty spicy. And the first time I heard it when I was in church, I was going like, what is this? Because I was new to Orthodoxy, new to saints, new to lives of saints and everything. And I was just like, well, this is the craziest story I've ever heard. But it starts with Saint Zasamas, who was a monk in a Palestinian monastery, and he was kind of disturbed by the thought that he had attained perfection. So he's like, I'm the monkiest monk. No one can out-monk me. I have this problem where maybe there's no one to teach me, so I think I'm going to go off and see if there's anybody who has attained a higher spiritual level than I have. So he goes to this other monastery, And all these monks decide to go out into the desert to see if they could find someone who could benefit them. And he runs into this woman who has been living into the desert, and she has no clothes on. And he calls out to her, and she starts running away from him. He's like, please, don't run away from me. And she knows things about him. She knew his name. She knew where he's from. And he says, tell me your story. You must be a saint if you know all of these things without, me having to tell you. And she said, I beseech you by Christ our God, do not conceal from me who you are. Or he said this, who you are and how you came into the desert. Tell me everything so that the wondrous works of God may be revealed. So here's where her story picks up. She replied, it distresses me, Father, to speak to you about my shameless life. When you hear my story, you might flee from me as if from a poisonous snake. But I shall tell you everything, Father, concealing nothing. However, I exhort you, cease not to pray for me, a sinner, that I may find mercy on the day of judgment. I was born in Egypt, and when I was 12 years old, I left my parents and went to Alexandria. There I lost my chastity and gave myself to unrestrained and insatiable sensuality. For more than 17 years, I lived like that, and I did it all for free. Do not think I refused the money because I was rich. I lived in poverty and worked at spinning flax. To me, life consisted in the satisfaction of my fleshly lust. One summer, I saw a crowd of people from Libya and Egypt heading towards the sea. They were on their way to Jerusalem for the feast of the exaltation of the Holy Cross. I also wanted to sail with them. Since I had no food or money, I offered my body in payment for my passage, and so I embarked on this ship. Now, Father, believe me, I'm very amazed that the sea tolerated my wantonness and fornication, that the earth did not open up its mouth and take me down alive into hell because I had ensnared so many souls. I think that God was seeking my repentance. He did not desire the death of a sinner, but awaited my conversion. So I arrived in Jerusalem and spent all the days before the feast of the same sort of life, and maybe even worse. When the holy feast of the exaltation of the venerable cross of the Lord arrived, I went about as before looking for young men. At daybreak, I saw that everyone was heading to the church, so I went along with the rest. When the hour of the holy elevation drew nigh, I was trying to enter into the church with all the people. With great effort, I came almost to the doors and attempted to squeeze inside. Although I stepped up to the threshold, it was as though some force held me back, preventing me from entering. I was brushed aside by the crowd and found myself standing alone on the porch. I thought that perhaps this happened because of my womanly weakness. I worked my way into the crowd, and again I attempted to elbow people inside. However hard I had tried, I could not enter. Just as my feet touched the church threshold, I was stopped. Others entered the church without difficulty, while I alone was not allowed in. This happened 3 or 4 times. Finally, my strength was exhausted. I went off and stood in a corner of the church portico. Then I realized it was my sins that prevented me from seeing the life-creating wood. The grace of the Lord then touched my heart. I wept and lamented and began to beat my breast. Sighing from the depths of my heart, I saw above me an icon of the most holy Theotokos. Turning to her, I prayed, O Lady Virgin, who gave birth in the flesh to God the Word, I know that I am unworthy to look upon your icon. I rightly inspire hatred and disgust before your purity, but I know also that God became man in order to call sinners to repentance. Help me, O all pure one. Let me enter the church. Allow me to behold the wood upon which the Lord was crucified in the flesh, shedding his blood for the redemption of us sinners and also for me. Be my witness before your Son that I will never defile my body again with the impurity of fornication. As soon as I have seen the cross of your Son, I will renounce the world and go wherever you lead me. After I had spoken, I felt confidence in the compassion of the Mother of God and left the spot where I had been praying. I joined those entering the church, and no one pushed me back or prevented me from entering. I went on in fear and trembling and entered the holy place. Thus I also saw the mysteries of God and how God accepts the penitent. I fell to the holy ground and kissed it. Then I hastened again to stand before the icon of the Mother of God, where I had given my vow. Bending my knees before the Virgin Theotokos, I prayed, O Lady, you have not rejected my prayers unworthy. Glory be to God who accepts the repentance of sinners. It is time for me to fulfill my vow which you witnessed. Therefore, O Lady, guide me on the path of repentance. Then I heard a voice from on high. If you cross the Jordan, you will find glorious rest. I immediately believed that this was the voice meant for me, and I cried out to the Mother of God, O Lady, do not forsake me. Then I left the church portico and started on my journey. A certain man gave me 3 coins as I was leaving the church. With them I bought 3 loaves of bread and asked the bread merchant the way to the Jordan. It was 9 o'clock when I saw the cross. At sunset, I reached the church of St. John the Baptist on the banks of the Jordan. After praying in the church, I went down to the Jordan and washed my face and hands in its water. Then, in this same temple of St. John the Forerunner, I received the life-creating mysteries of Christ. Then I ate half of one of my loaves of bread, drank water from the Holy Jordan, and slept there that night on the ground. In the morning, I found a small boat and crossed the river to the opposite shore. Again, I prayed that the Mother of God would lead me where she wished. Then I found myself in this desert. Abba Zasamas, that's the monk, asked her, how many years have passed since you began to live in the desert? I think she replied, it is 47 years since I came from the holy city. So she just lived out in the desert, no food, no clothes, living off little herbs and just repenting and communing with God.
Sounds like John the Baptist.
Yeah. And then she says, I spent 17 years in this wilderness after she had spent 17 years in immorality, fighting wild beasts, mad desires, and passions. When I began to eat bread, I thought of the meat and fish which I had in abundance in Egypt. I also missed the wine that I loved there so much when I was in the world. While here, I did not even have water. I suffered from thirst and hunger. I also had mad desire for lewd songs. I seemed to hear them, disturbing my heart and my hearing. Weeping and striking myself on the breast, I remembered the vow I made. At last I beheld a radiant light shining on me from everywhere. After a violent tempest, a lasting calm ensued. How shall I tell you of the thoughts that urged me on to fornication? A fire seemed to burn within me, awakening in me the desire for embraces. Then I would throw myself on the ground and water it with my tears. It seemed to me the most holy Virgin before me, and she seemed to threaten me for not keeping my vow. I lay face downward day and night upon the ground and would not get up until that blessed light encircled me, dispelling the evil thoughts that troubled me. Thus I lived in this wilderness for the first 17 years. Darkness after darkness, misery after misery stood about me, a sinner. But from that time until now, the Mother of God helps me in everything. Then he said, how is it that you require no food or clothing? She answered, after finishing my bread, I lived on herbs and things one finds in the desert. The clothes I had when I crossed over the Jordan torn fell apart, and I suffered both from the summer heat, and the blazing heat fell upon me, and from the winter cold I shivered the frost. Many times I fell down upon the earth as though dead. I struggle with various afflictions and temptations, but from that time until the present day, the power of God has guarded my sinful soul and humble body. I was fed and clothed by the all-powerful word of God, since man does not live by bread alone, but by every word proceeding from the mouth of God. And those who have put off the old man have no refuge, hiding themselves in the cleft of the rocks. When I remember from what evil and from what sins the Lord delivered me, I have imperishable food for salvation. So it goes on a little bit more, and I'll let you guys finish that story if you want, but I just thought this was like one of the most perfect saints for our times right now, like the kind of world that we live in and the kind of pornographic type of society that we have right now. Saint Mary of Egypt lived through all that in Egypt. Those must have been some lit parties at the pyramids, right? That
Yeah.
she had to just give up altogether, all comforts, every type of sensual pleasure that you can imagine, and repent in the desert for the rest of her life. And this isn't just her in the icon, it's both of them. But usually in her icon, you can see her bones of her chest and her arms and how thin she is, and she's wearing rags and everything. So she is amazing, amazing saint, and perfect for our modern time.
Love that one.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us in our quiz games, our little puzzlers. And I got to know a lot more about Kristin, who I love, and I hope she had fun with me too. And
I learned many, many things.
Next week, we're going to get back to the crazy stuff. I think we're going to do Babylon working and aliens and what came in the portal when they opened it out there in the desert. Does that have anything to do with Eisenhower? Does it have to do with flying saucers? Did the president make a deal with the Greys to sell people for experiments? Are there good guys in the FBI and the CIA? So all of these things we're going to talk about next week. And if you want to watch a documentary along with Kristin and me, one of the things we're going to talk about is called Mirage Men. So look forward to that. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I'm ready to talk about aliens next week.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's favorite topic. Yeah.
Because you guys, they're coming. I can feel it.
Yeah.
My spidey puppy senses are tingling that if it's not this year, soon is going to be the summer of the aliens. So
the alien fear, PORN. That's what this is about.
The fake alien invasion that we can all tune in. Well, thank you guys. This is Out of This World, and we are having a great time.
Bye.